What up, my freaks? RuinusInsight here with part 3 of my Total War Warhammer 3 modded Fay Enchantress Immortal Empires campaign. So as we saw last time, the ghost of Glen Boreal was made ghostlier as we attacked the undead and destroyed their faction throughout the episode. I guess the first episode was destroying the orcs here at River Brigand, the second episode was Glen Boreal, and now we will proceed to moving southward through the Chateau Levar, or Novalon Pass, into the territories of the Ramatep dynasty. And by the looks of it, there's a little tiny army here in march stance that we probably should attack, eh? Oh, well, so that reminds me, you, Fay Enchantress, are going to go into channeling stance, like so. And are you at war with anybody? You are currently at war with the Next Snappers. Are you willing to give us any cash for this? We will declare war on Ramatep dynasty for, 1.6k, we'll take it. Like so. Lovely, and then we'll kill them both for obvious reasons. What else did I want to do before we got going? Oh, first of all, engagement threshold. Don't forget that if we reach 400 likes and 70 comments or whatever it was, each episode going into either Friday or Saturday, whichever day I have more time after work, we will do a double episode day on that day. So keep it in mind if you're into it. The second thing that I wanted to do was to recruit some knights, specifically of the Knights Errant variety, so that we can slowly start leveling them up into a Grail Guardian unit. So to do so, we're gonna grab ourselves a nice prophetess, a nice shepherd prophetess with the additional growth increase. Though upkeep production would, I'm just gonna go with the growth increase, whatever. Like so. Alright, and then we'll immediately get you Inspiring Presence, Route Marcher, and I guess Bonded Service as well, like so. Then we are going to, I guess technically you don't need your mount right now, do you? And we're going to use you to, oh wow, oh, that's a questing knight. Okay, I got worried there for a second, thinking that the Knights Errant cost that much, although 1440 is still fairly expensive. We don't have any more recruitment cost reductions, do we? Income from trading, corruption reduction, control, which should actually come in fairly handy, but by the looks of it, not really. Okay, fine, fair enough. I just want the one unit of Knights Errant for now, because we can't really afford too much more. And though we may want to build a few peasants. Let me just see how much money we have remaining at this turn. Yeah, you get started on that. Then we will use... Ooh, you know what we can also do? Inez, since you've reached rank 10, I think we'll send you to Ferrignac, and it's faster to reset you and us than, have you run over there. Like so, this will lower our research rate by 20 points, unfortunately, but, well, you'll be back in a few turns for us to make use of you. Then we will have Renee here. Yeah, we'll have you sally out and attack this, which I think by the looks of it is probably not worth our time, right? Yeah, whatever, just let it go, take the money. Like so. Alrighty, and you can still move, but I don't see any reason to do so. I guess we could move out here and channel if we really wanted to. Oh, wow, you can nearly reach us here, can't you? Do we risk it? And we can always channel later. Let's just stay out there.
We have met before.
Yeah, you know what, they need to heal, Alrighty, now, building-wise. Oh, wait, actually, diplomacy-wise and then building-wise. Still Vizaya, I don't care for it, and I don't believe that there's anything else. Oh, wait, I saw... Marches of Quran are disliking us. We have strategic threat up and running now. Well, it was always going to happen, to be fair. Alright, let's do the buildings. So, first of all, Castle Carcassonne is okay. Summer's Fall Fort we need to set up into the Realm of Chivalry. And we could save the money, but frankly it's not enough, I think, to warrant it. So we'll just start upgrading Summer's Fall. River Brienne is the critical one because it's our money-making territory. We'll go for the town here. And we'll hold off on the Clothier just because it's going to cost us additional control, which we can wait for. Dragon Falls, we could upgrade you in order to get the Royal Barracks of Valor. We don't really need the Foot Squires as yet, but at least a couple of them in one of our secondary armies might be a good idea. Though it is expensive. And I was going to get a few more peasants instead. We could just do a couple of peasant mobs for another one of our armies. Maybe that is the way to do it. Not that admittedly the men-at-arms rather are all that much more expensive. We don't currently have any lances or any spear men-at-arms with shields, though at the same time, I would say that, let me just take a quick look here. And we could just upgrade these guys. At rank 3 very quickly, mind you, if we wanted to. And then you guys at rank 4 to Battle Pilgrims, although we'll be wanting to build those rather soon. Yeah, I'm gonna go with the peasant mobs for now. And you know what? Just upgrade Dragon Falls. Yeah. That way we've spent all our money and can continue. I believe our caravan is 1 turn away from reaching its destination, though... Ooh, 2 things about the caravan. So first of all, we need to level you up, sir. Skills, Inspiring Presence, and then I believe it's always... Start with Wayfinders for the chance of being intercepted to be reduced, and then move into Hidden Stores for the additional replenishment. The other thing is that I noticed between the episodes that the Knight's Vow, the Vows and Troughs, they don't automatically get completed for the caravans than the way that they do with our lords. So I gotta keep that in mind and pay attention to it. Anyway, like so, and we're looking good. Huh, I wonder if there's any way to increase our active caravan numbers, or we'll always be at 1. Oh wow, you're gonna take out the lore nutrition too, eh? Alright. Fair enough. Fair enough, and I believe now that's it. So let's end the turn and assign skill points we can ignore. Yeah, you are close to rank 9, but you're not, or rank 10, but you're not quite there yet. Alright, fair enough. And I hope I didn't forget anything, but I guess we're about to find out. I wonder if... Wait. No, wait. They're at war with these guys, not to these guys. Okay. Well, I guess it doesn't matter. War with whichever one of the orcs might see them move towards them instead of us, but there is the anti-player bias. I kept it at 100. There was a little... I think this is the first time I noticed it, or maybe it's only now there. There was a little, little bar where you could select the amount of anti-player bias. I'm not entirely sure what exactly 100 means to... What the heck? What are you doing? Okay. Well, whatever 100 means, that's what we've got. It wasn't percentage, because you could go over 100. Or maybe it is percentage. And, ooh, Deepwood Scouts. That's a nice pickup. Yes. Good job to the caravan. Caravan completed, and a free obsidian amulet. Don't really care about it. What do we have here? Irrigation ditch is up next. Caravan completed. We just saw that. And there's that obsidian amulet we were talking about. Talisman of Preservation. Oh, you know what we need? Wait, actually, your quests give you... Morgiana's Mirror would unfortunately take the same exact slot as the shard. As in the other Trickster Shard that I was planning. But all good, I suppose. I do like the additional peasant economy offered by this set effect and the control for all provinces. I don't think I've actually done the Fay Enchantress's quests ever, so I'm actually quite interested in what they are. Anyway, mission issued. Fay Enchantress, you're going to go into Stan's Crusade, and we'll just reinforce and have Renee lead to attack Diedrich here. While Bertrand... What's the likelihood they have another army that could punish us here? I'm gonna say low. Bertrand going to here. And then we'll both move towards Chateau Levain afterwards. It's very poorly defended, so it's not gonna be any kind of concern. You will attack.
Slay them.
I protect Bretonnia.
And we're a little bit damaged still, but I think we can still freely auto-resolve and heal over the course of the next turn. Yeah, we'll be fine. Take the money, at least for now, at the cost of a little bit of chivalry. And then Fay Enchantress, you cannot change stances. You can now go into channeling, though. Move up a little bit ahead of the Fay Enchantress in case we need to switch positions. Your mana is not maxed out, but let's take a look at this real quick. So first of all, we go for Beacon of Devotion, which will reduce our construction time and cost for the worship buildings that we're about to start building. And then all importantly, we'll get the growth plus 20 via Lady of the Land. Then we could get a plus 40 Winds of Magic reserve. That is pretty nice. This is a good opportunity to start channeling that reserve, so we'll do that. And then we'll go for Lore Master of Life and then quickly into, at the very least, the Life Bloom, Earthblood, and Shield of Thorns, because it's... What? Huh. Wait, you can have multiple errantries against the same time, or is it because we've partially completed the errantry we're currently on? I am not entirely sure, but I guess we'll continue with the Vampire Count's errantry. Oh, errantry ends. Oh, wait, no, that's mission issued. So do we have... Yeah, we have two at the same time. But you know what? Fair enough. You can channel. And we do have a little bit of cash once again, but let's also double check what we've got in terms of alliances. Kuhan. That's an important one. I'll take a little bit of your cash, and hopefully that doesn't mean that you're dying over there. Marchers of Kuhan, we will go for an alliance with you as well. Looks like they're having a little bit of a tough time against the orcs. As soon as we have a spare army, we'll probably send one northward to try to help some of them out a little bit. And Ramatub Dynasty wants peace, but, you know, we've got an errantry to fight now, so that's not going to happen. Fay Enchantress, you're good. You guys have not reached rank 10, but you're so dang close. I'll just have to wait. Alright, building-wise, what do we have here? So, Carcassonne, yeah, so you have reached rank 3 or tier 3, meaning we can start building our worship structures. So Grail Chapel. We will eventually want to upgrade these things. But I think I'd like to prioritize the Royal Barracks of Valor first. Although we'll probably have enough Valor to build both anyway, should we desire it. Which I think we do. Let me just see what other options we have. You're fine. And your public order is now fixed-ish. In fact, you know what? Let's go for Venerate the Lady for a couple of turns, and I'm going to hopefully remember to switch it back. Then we'll upgrade Salignac Le Rouge. Normally I'd go for this in order to get the Iron Mine, but this is a yellow territory and the construction time will make it less effective. So we'll start with this and then double up on the fields here. Good? For growth, and then speaking of fields, we will do you, and then I guess, yeah, let's just do the Pegasus area, just so I don't have to look at it. And oh, we already have the additional capacity. So unfortunately... Well, we would have had to wait because, wait. No, it's not Virtue of Discipline we want. It's Virtue of Armor for everybody around. I don't remember what it was called, but there was one. I swear there was one, or at least there was the last time I played. And thusly, I want that once again. Alrighty, that looks like that's it for this turn. The recruitment is nearly complete. We've got those Knights Errant. I guess we could get a few more peasant mobs on field. Or even, you know what, maybe we could use some of those Pox Archers. Do we want the Pox Archers, or do we have a little bit of armor-piercing damage on these? No, still effectively 1. So then the Peasant Bowmen of Fire, wait a moment. Is there any real use for them? Let me just see here, because the regular men-at-arms, the longbows, will provide actual armor-piercing damage. So instead of the fire, we can use those, but the pox arrows would still be useful regardless, meaning... Let's get a few of those poxy arrows. I don't want to spend the money because we need to invest in other things, but at the same time, I would like another army to get ready to go soon, so yeah. Or at least be able to split off and fight smaller armies. Ooh, Caravan Dispatch, yes. You are back in action. Last time you went to the Empire, and unfortunately, there are no other Empire options. I wanted to pick up more Empire troops just so that we could... I do wonder whether these would give us Empire troops. If we go to Magritte, 9 turns though. Yeah, you know what, I don't think we should take 9 turns to go there. Maybe we just do Kislev then. This is 7 turns. Actually, wait, let me just see here. This would be 3,000 for 5 turns, 3,700 for... that's a lot longer. But I think nonetheless... we'll do Erengrad. We should visit all of these guys after all. Alright, well, we can integrate some Dwarven units in this army, perhaps, or Kislevites units, rather. Dwarven units would work nicely as well, but yeah. We'll take it. Dispatch. And enjoy. Then, I do believe we are now good, so we will ignore this, and then we will end the turn. And then we will see if the Ramateb dynasty have enough units to move into the fortress there. If they don't, it will fall. Actually, if they do, it will fall as well, but you know. And, ooh, what do we have here? Oh, I take it Quenelle is just about to be wiped out by the Wood Elves here. Admittedly, we were expecting it. It's a little bit annoying that the Wood Elves will hold so much Bretonnian territory and that they start at war with this Bretonnian faction, but what can you do? Especially since there is a sort of, you know, modded legendary lord added to them, but there's so many that maybe it doesn't matter much. No peace, only war. Total war, not total peace after all. And let's see if he's moved and will provide us a nice fight for the next turn. Alright, what do we have here? We got the quest, Morgiana's Mirror. Construct one of each of the following Tower of the Enchantress. Oh, so to get this, we have to be tier 5. Luckily, we have a ton of growth with Bretonnia, but that's still gonna take a bit. We will build that Grail Chapel, and we will read this once we complete it, I think. Oh, it's gonna be so long from now. Maybe we should just read this now. Let's read it now. As the Fay Enchantress travels between sacred groves, she draws to her side young children who harbor latent powers, destined to serve Bretonnia as damsels. One such girl, particularly favored by the Lady of the Lake, had gifted the Enchantress a most resplendent hand mirror, said to have inexplicable magic properties born of the child's own power. Such is the artifact's potency that the Enchantress always takes it to the battlefield whenever forced into violent confrontation. Yet now the power of the Morgiana's Mirror wanes, its power closely tied to the purity of the Bretonnian soil. The only way to restore the mirror to its full potency is to transmit her powers of warding across Carcassonne to help remove all signs of corruption festering across the land. Alright, so it'll be a while before we're awarded that one. But Sir Amalric does reach level 10, getting the Icon of the Lady. Yeah, nice 20% physical resistance buff, but the duration is actually really short. But the vigor per second is actually much more valuable here than the physical resistance. So, lovely. And a hero becomes legend, mission issued, and mission completed. Because that was rank 10. And in fact, I guess we'll give Morgiana the helm for now. She's usually helping the sort of melee troops, and frankly, it's probably more useful. The Sword of Battle and Berserker Sword I don't care for, so we'll turn it into something more useful, but the Sword of Battle is nice enough. And we'll give it to you, sir. Alright, also, we've reached rank 10, so we could start going through Storied Hero. Reduction for cavalry, we got banished when fighting undead, which I'm sure this guy will want. Oh, we'll want to max out replenish troops, but I think we'll go for your unique line first. So leadership and immunity to psychology and area, only for 30 seconds, mind you. Now this is a buff, immunity to vampiric territory attrition. I assume this is not for his army, but let's do this and we'll find out, I guess. Replenishes campaign movement range for Lord after raising a settlement. Probably not something we'll be doing too much with the Fay Enchantress, admittedly. Ooh, free campaign movement range, though. I do like that. And obviously, the Icon of Devotion with the Battle Pilgrim and Relic buffs is the thing that we really do want. So, in that light, a Blessed Champion of the Lady into Might of Purity, and we will want to... I'm gonna say start with Guided by the Lady. The additional campaign movement range is just not something I can say no to. You, sir. Max out training and grab tough as nails. Esteemed Combatant is extremely useful, but... Oh, we'll have to decide between My Vow and Blinding Majesty. Now, My Vow is a rather nice buff. The main issue here is that I'm not entirely sure that this guy's going to stay in this army, and depending on which army he's in, will determine which of these we get. Grail Banishment is also an extremely strong debuff. I'm gonna say we'll start with esteemed combatant for now, and we may as well move towards retinue trainer. So let's get We Are the Elite and ignore the rest of this, at least for now. I also don't know how many paladins we'll have in the Fay Enchantress's army, because she'll probably want Lost Sons of Bretonnia, so yeah, we'll see. Anyway, speaking of the Fay Enchantress, not the lady, although some do wonder. We'll go into Crusade stance and go towards Chateau Laval, which has nothing but zombies and garbage. And aha, Fritz von Drack is the main guy there. Alright, so let's let's move everybody in to reinforce. You can march stance in. Can't quite reach there, but we'll be able to transfer that knight errant shortly. You can move here, and you can move here as well. Like so. All should be close enough to reinforce. Wow. The orcs really don't like us, and they don't have military presence here. I presume they have lost their main stack. Well, they have 6 settlements. What the heck? How do they have 6 settlements? Oh! I take it they confederated somebody up here since they're fighting these guys at the same time, and thusly, yeah, military presence. Interesting. It might mean that the Errata Mountains are essentially free conquest right now, which is interesting because Foul Peak is their capital. Might want to take advantage of that. Anyway, Chateau Laval, probably not worth fighting because it's a bunch of garbage zombies. I'll take some damage, but it's all good. We'll occupy. And out of cure. Nice. Talisman of Endurance. Nice find. Warrior. Gained by winning more than 90% of battles. Yeah, pretty much everybody's going to have that. 3 foot squires, 3 men-at-arms, 3 peasant bowmen, 2 knights of the realm, 1 Pegasus knight fighting. Yeah, not that great, but at least we get some growth out of this. I was wondering how strong the final garrison would be, and a little over half a stack and not a lot of elite units. But the AI is pretty terrible in sieges, so I don't imagine it'll matter over much anyway.
I see you.
Alrighty. Also, do we want to set Realm of Chivalry? Yes, indeed we do. Construction cost reduction and stuff. Also, 1 more turn until the Prophetess returns, I take it. Yeah, 1 turn until Inez is back. Good. Diplomacy check.
Yes?
What do we have? Talzin, you want military access. We're going to need this. Ooh, and defensive alliance, yes.
Sit. We have much to discuss.
Yeah, they don't like the whole Cornell situation, but it is what it is. I'm hoping they don't get into then a fight with these guys, because we're supposed to be allied, but we'll see.
Yes.
Hopefully Orion will leave some of the Bretonnians alone, and we'll maybe fight some orcs instead. Seems like the more appropriate action.
You need me?
Ooh, hello. Yeah, we got the other Wood Elf allies. So Atilith is already willing to trade. What about any of the others? Let's do Vidria.
Welcome to the halls of Athelloren.
So that's why I didn't trade with Atilith.
Hi.
Anmer,
Hail, men
not willing
of
to trade, but
Bretonnia.
we'll just do the non-aggression pact. They will eventually want to trade.
The
Sithral,
woods of
nope.
Athelloren welcome you.
And I'm willing to bet then that
At your service, you
Atilith
have been
will
granted
trade.
access to the
Yes.
halls of Athelloren. By all means.
There we go. Oh, funnily enough, we were close to a defensive alliance with them
Lord
as
of the
well.
Glade.
Kavarok is willing. Yeah, we should probably just do a big old alliance with all of the Wood Elves.
You have been granted access
Have
to
access
the
to
halls
all
of
the Wood
Athelloren.
Elven units we want, most likely.
Of course.
Also,
Azray.
every alliance with Wood Elves gives us vision of the rest of the Wood Elves, which is also quite lovely. Alright. Working pretty reasonably well so far. After that, we got a little bit of building to build, perhaps. Let's see what we got here. So, Carcassonne, we will definitely want the fields, just for the growth, if nothing else. Got to get to tier 4 and 5 as fast as possible here. And I'm going to say upgrade the vineyard. Wait for this because it's a little bit on the expensive side, though. This is fine. This is fine for now. I would say that we will probably want to upgrade this, though. But we'll probably want to do it in a turn or so. Ooh. Public order is still kind of meh here. But it is what it is. Alright, let's save the money, and then we'll do that next turn then. Skip the outpost for now. Although, maybe we want to build the out. That's 2,000 gold, but this is the time to build it in Kingsglade, rather than one of the outposts, which are terrible. Fine, do it. I hope the investment doesn't come to naught, because if they start fighting with these guys, it'll be, well, it'll be unfortunate for us, let's say. Alright, how are we doing otherwise? It looks like the Empire is still okay, but it's kind of hard to see, and the map is so huge that, you know, don't know what's happening everywhere. And I also note that Quenelle is not liking us very much for all the Wood Elf allying, but, well, that was never going to change. End turn. We've got more vamps to errantry against. And I guess we can at least use Chateau Levar as a base or place to run to as we fight the orcs here. You do have to be careful when... what is this? You want us to join the war against Broken Nose. Oh! That's interesting. That means you're gonna move into these mountains. I'm gonna say decline for now, though admittedly if they capture a territory here, considering these are yellow territories, I would perhaps be willing to trade them for the green Bretonnian territories here, some mountainous territories. Might not be a bad idea. And depending again on how much territory the Wood Elves take, but that's another nice thing about the old world map. The map is big enough so that you don't have to worry so much about, you know, there not being enough territory to go around. Because there's more than enough. And it looks like no further attacks this turn. Alright, or no further war declarations. And what do we have here? Keep on moving, or spend treasury to reduce journey time. It's probably worth it from a math perspective. I wish it's... I assume it's 1 turn? What if it's 2? Just do it. Agree to deal. It's 500 gold. Not a big deal. Alrighty. Faction destroyed Quenelle. Yeah, sorry, Quenelle, but we were never going to rescue you from your situation. Hopefully Orion doesn't then attack. Ooh. These two do not like each other. Oh, if these guys attack Orion, not only will they get destroyed, it'll probably either draw us into the fight or force us to cancel our agreement. Neither one of which I would be particularly happy about. But again, it is what it is. Anyway, Ferignac, you will get the prophetess back, shepherd, like so. Then, 2 things to do here. First of all, we'll go Inspiring Presence, Peasant's Purpose, Arcane Wisdom, and Muster the Farmhands into Route Marcher, and this time I'm going to say go with 10th share rather than Recruitment, at least for you. Then, another errantry. Wow, it's nothing but errantry these days. Lizardmen, Ogre Kingdoms, Skaven, and Greenskins. Got to go with Greenskins. Turns remaining 10 turns, eh? How often do these pop up? Is it just non-stop errantries? What the heck? I mean, that's Bretonnia for you, but it's a little bit much in the early game. Go figure. We do have 25 turns to get it going. Slaanesh giggle, but you know. You. I would like you to go into... Start with Channeling Stance, and I would also like you to grab the Bailiff from the Fay Enchantress for the additional public order here. Yeah. Then, we're at plus 12. We can, I think, start collecting the money, which we need. Next turn, we will want to switch to the Realm of Chivalry. And then we will want to most likely switch you in to spread the word for the additional control. It will still start dropping a little bit, but hopefully we can fix it with time and with items and whatnot. Next up... Oh, they ran away like a bunch of pathetic cowards. Okay then. I am disappointed, but I am not surprised. Enchantress, I would like you to... Actually... I'd like you to reinforce, I think.
We have met before.
We will move Bertrand the Brigand into Rivola, or maybe even
I have seen your
Renee into Rivola. You know what? Renee, you're closest to rank 10. I'm going to say we'll move you here. How close is the other settlements? It's here, right? I can see the sort of crossroads there. Everybody else will reinforce. Do we have you moving in, Alicia? You are. Okay, so go here. You go here, Fay Enchantress. A moment. Come on. Like so. And this is about the max of your range anyway, so I think I would like you to transfer like this. Then, you will move here as well. I'm going to assume that we won't be able to reach the next place, but we'll see. And I really like a fight, though, but it's just such a minor settlement battle that it's probably not worth our time. Also, you leveled up, haven't you? No, you leveled up. Skills, let's go for hidden stores. There you go, buddy.
As I expected.
Alrighty. I think since I assume that their last settlement is there. No, 4 settlements. Oh, they have several settlements going down here. Huh, maybe we might be able to reach one. Okay, we'll see. Let's see what the auto-resolve says on this. Close victory. Really? Alright, it's a minor fight and it'll only take 2 minutes, but I think we've waited long enough. Go.
For the king!
Alrighty, here we go. Now, in theory, this should be an easy fight in the sense that we horribly outnumber the enemy, and obviously we have the Fay Enchantress and the Grail Knights and Amalric and whatnot. However, since this little army is out here first, that means the enemy army will attack it, and we have a very limited front line, 2 men-at-arms and 2 peasant mobs, and we have to wait for 1 minute and 30 seconds, or 2 minutes from the start of the battle, for our reinforcements to come in, and then of course the time that it takes for them to reinforce this army before it's devoured by the undead. Can we make it? Will this little army survive? Find out next time. No, I'm kidding. Let's find out right now. So we don't have the Grail Knights, and the Knights Errant are a very weak form of knight, but we'll see what they can do here. They're going to charge on through the first unit and then do their best to cycle charge whatever units they can. Disrupt and distract the entire enemy army as best as they possibly can. The longer they take to get to the rest of our forces, the better. We also do have the newly recruited peasant bowmen with pox arrows, and thusly we can use them to slow the enemy down. There we go. A few nice charges from the Knights Errant. They're not getting a crazy amount of kills, but 10,000 damage is pretty solid for the weakest knight available to the Bretonnians. I'd be curious how Knights Errant would fare against a Empire Knight in a one-on-one. Knights of the Realm are better than Empire Knights. But what about the Knights Errant? And the Knights Errant do still have the massive advantage of being able to get into Lance Formation, or do they call it Diamond Formation here? No, it is Lance Formation. Alrighty, and it looks like the enemy army has indeed reached us. The charges continue, but at the very least we have managed to take out the enemy Fellbats. 3 units of Graveguard are coming up over on the right flank. We're going to charge on in and get the heck out of there, because one of those is a Graveguard with halberds. And a very nice charge downhill, using the additional momentum to send the enemies flying. But more Graveguard are making their way forward. We've actually been targeting 1 unit of a Graveguard with 3, I think, of our bows. And they're barely doing any damage because we have almost no armor piercing on these range, and the Graveguard are very much solid enough to take a lot of punishment. Still, the Knights Errant in their debut are actually doing surprisingly well and are racking up 32k damage. It is early game, so you can still get a lot of mileage out of a cavalry unit like this. And we'll probably build a few more in a rather short order in order to send them into the fray and get them leveling. I still haven't decided whether we want to go straight for recruitment of additional units, or as in more higher tier units of knights, or whether every single knight should be leveled all the way from Knights Errant and to whatever they can be leveled up to. I might hold a vote on it. I'll think about it. Either way, out of the Fay Enchantress and, well, the fast-moving elements of her army have arrived. It's 3 minutes in and the rest of her army is on the approach, but surprisingly, this little garbage army we have is still holding, thanks in big part to the Knights Errant. Bertrand the Brigand has arrived, and we can see him let loose his black arrow into the midst of the enemy, as the Knights Errant are joined by the Grail Knights, and we can see just the massive amount of formation disruption we've done to the enemy, as none of the enemy units are basically fighting in a cohesive formation, and they're just being sent flying constantly. And this is working out real well. In fact, ooh, very nice air on that one. Somebody give that guy a a trophy of some kind. Anyway, it looks like with that, the Fay Enchantress and the newly arriving Grail Knights clinch whatever the victory for us. And the last of the Graveguard melt away, and the battle is ours. And the battle is ours. And thank you, alright. Every time. Alright, Sacrament of the Lady. What is this? Immunity to psychology and a little bit of winds of magic power. Kind of mad, to be perfectly honest. Probably going to combine this with the Scroll of Leeching that we currently have. More importantly, we got ourselves a lovely little fight there, just by virtue of René Degnaud having to hold the ground and await for the Fay Enchantress's reinforcements to come in and save them, as per the Savior trait, now acquired. Very nice indeed. And I'm actually fairly impressed with how long the peasant mobs managed to hold out against the Graveguard and all. Good for them. Alright. And the first unit of Knights Errant starting to make a name for themselves as well. Plus, Renee has reached rank 10, which gives us the all-important Arcane Wisdom. And, well, she's actually a lord that... What the heck? Another errantry? It's all errantry all the time, apparently. All of these are rather far. Who's the closest? I wish we had more than 25 turns for this one. Also, I assume that that not completing one of these doesn't actually, cost us anything, but, it hurts not to complete one. I think there's a Nurgle faction to the north of us. There's also Beastmen to the north. I'm now sad that Slaneshi faction got destroyed. Let's look that we can actually get 5 battles against Nurgle, though. Oh, wait, is Wulfric still down here in Old World Classic, or did they move him? Dang, I'm not entirely sure who's the closest, because if Wulfric is still down here, he might actually be more likely prospect. I'm gonna say we'll do Norska. I could be wrong about this, but we'll see. Maybe we can make it happen, maybe we can't. Yeah, we'll see. Alrighty. And speaking of these guys, Knights Errant need to be rank 5 to upgrade their first time. Alright, well, they've started to make their name for a name for themselves, and yeah. Looks like Fay Enchantress unfortunately cannot reach Campa Grotta, but I do expect a nice battle there. And, ooh, with pastures, recruitment cost reduction for all knights. That will be probably another military, potentially, province. Oh, I don't like that Carcassonne is holding Elemento, though. Maybe we could trade something to them for it. Oh, and also, the border gore here is atrocious. Also, we need... Wait, how many more battles against these guys? 4 more and 2 more. Wait, 4 more and 3 more. So if anybody else takes out any of their settlements, that's not going to be great. Anyway, Fay Enchantress, move here, please. And, okay, their army has moved back here. I am a little bit worried of them... you know what? You're gonna have to sit near Rivola. I don't like the idea of them possibly attacking the settlement. I don't think they're in range, but they could be, and I'm not willing to risk it.
Your will?
Also, I guess we gotta trade the Knights Errant, which will be
I protect Bretonnia.
in this army. And in fact, by virtue of that, and the fact that we will build them up all the way to Grail Guardians, we know that we're keeping them. So you will join the Endes Nay, and you will be the Knights of Nay. Like so. And also, I'm pretty sure that we will not be retraining or changing out the Blessed Field Trebs, so you can be the Farquaad. I think it's with 2 A's. Don't quote me on it, though. Don't quote me on anything. Anyway, let's see, what else do we have here? I did say I wanted Lore Master, Lore of Life, and I think that's still going to happen. In theory, we could buff the Grail Knights and Grail Guardians, but let's face it, it's not the most needed thing in the world. Renee did the level 10 thing. Technically won't need muster the farmhands. I don't know what is going to be in her army, but I do know that there will be knights, because the upkeep reduction doesn't matter as much for the peasants, like at all, really. Or at the very least, more expensive units. But I think she can hold on to her points for now. Also, let's see. Alicia, we need to get you up to rank 10. Wait, you're another shepherd. And then as soon as you're at rank 10, we'll send you out there to, well, be a shepherd. And replace you with another shepherd. Alright, that all makes sense to me. I believe we're good for this particular turn, so we can double check Diplo. There doesn't appear to be anything of significance, therefore we can end the turn. Wait. Ally missions? No ally missions. Alright, then we can end the turn. Outpost available with the other new faction. You know what? I'm not spending the 2,000 again. Let's end the turn. And then let's get ready to move to Campo Grotta. Warherd of the One Eye, I assume, is near to Middenland in this map, just like in the Immortal Empires map. Now with all these errantries, I'm just looking at what factions are popping up and thinking, where is this faction? Are they close enough to errantry against? And I assume the errantries will keep popping up, so we'll have to keep ranging further and further afield. And I guess maybe once we're far enough away from our own territories, we can start doing some raising of settlements. Alright, Ramateb Dynasty, did you stay or did you go from Campo Grotta, is the question. Oh, and I think this place just, yep, Gulf of Pearls just changed hands, meaning we'll have to find some other vampire counts. This also means most likely a lot more Border Gorn. Hello, little Beastman army. And I do mean a little one. It does have some Bestigors, but frankly, Pyrrhic Victory? It's not an ambush. Oh, this is a Pyrrhic Victory. I guess they have some Bestigors, but alright, we'll fight it. I don't mind. It's not like we fought Beastmen yet. Huh. Ironically, if we had picked the Beastmen errantry, but anyway, go.
Today, the lance will end what they're fully began.
Alrighty, here we go. I'm really loving this caravan. We now have an even number, 6 Empire units and 6 Bretonian units working together. And in this particular case, we've got the Empire Knights working together with the Knights of the Realm. Obviously, the Empire Knights are vastly inferior as a unit, but sort of following the heavier Knights in is generally a fairly good strategy, and you can do the same thing with a sort of lighter cavalry. As in, have a lighter unit of cavalry follow on the heels of a heavier unit of cavalry that can punch through the enemy, while the light cav then doesn't need to take the brunt of the damage, can dish it out and then back off while the enemy formation is still disrupted. Anyway, Empire Knights may be looking a little bit drab compared to the Bretonnia Knights, but their armor is considerably shinier, so I don't know. They're both looking pretty good. And our Carcassonne color scheme does look pretty good on their plumes as well. It actually works surprisingly well with the sort of yellow, I don't know, gold plate that they have. Either way, ooh, it does look like one of the enemy units does manage to close with our army. It's a pile of chaos spawn, and I was thinking since we have 6 range units, they would be able to destroy them long before they did considerable damage, or really even close with the men-at-arms, but alas, it looks like they did manage to get there. Still, separating a chaos spawn unit like this is really good for us, as it is thusly not a unit that the enemy can rely on. In the meantime, though, our knights are starting to take a little bit of damage. The enemy is doing a good job actually pressing them with the Centaurs with great weapons, who are incredibly fragile units, but they A, do armor-piercing damage, and B, because of their larger mass, are able to hold the knights back in a way the infantry, even the Bestigors, are not able to. Still, and the knights continue riding around, trying to escape the Bestigors and not get trapped, all the while dish out as much damage to the Gors and Ungors that they can, and send them flying. And this is what's so great about cavalry factions, just sending enemies flying constantly. And I know I talk about my love for the vampire counts a lot, but the vampire counts are also pretty cavalry-heavy option with solid cavalry options. And they also send units flying. We'll never miss an opportunity to talk up the vamps. Anyway, the enemy army is now closing the distance with our main stack. We actually moved it forward off the hill where we were originally positioned, as it's time to aid the knights who have dropped by about 30% each. Though they have irritated and disrupted the enemy army quite a bit at this point. Now, with the Ungors still attempting to chase the knights, we will engage them with our frontliners. Starting here with the halberdiers. I was hoping to use the halberds to actually pin the Bestigors, not the Bestigors, the Centigors in place, but it looks like the Centigors will instead move towards us, and that works quite well, especially now that they are not going to be protecting their right flank, so it should allow our Free Company militia to move around the enemy army while we back off, reposition the knights, and get them ready to continue fighting. Alright, the only major threat that remains here is the Bestigor herd, but it does still appear to be chasing down our Lord and our Knights of the Realm, and that is really not going to work out so well for them. And because they're not fast enough to do so, and we can still get little side charges into the enemy. As in sort of making them function like a chariot rather than getting bogged down in the fight, especially where our range units might get them. I'm surprised how much I like this blue and orange color scheme. I would have thought that it would be a little bit more clashy, but it does work here. Including on the various Empire units. Anyway, the balance of power shifts to 95% in our favor. The Bestigors are still pretty much fine, with 95% of their HP remaining. However, our halberdiers have nearly brought down the enemy lord here, who's down to below half HP, and probably not super happy about the whole situation. Now, we start focusing down the Bestigors by doing two things. First, we move the halberdiers into a square formation, which means that they're not sort of spread out along the lines of Bestigors, and it allows our handgunners to fire into the exposed portions of the enemy unit. Then, of course, we move behind the enemy army or unit with the Free Company militia, adding additional gunfire to it, and quickly bringing the Bestigors down from 95 to like 10% of their HP, and giving the battle to us. Nice little fight against the Beastmen, I gotta say, and, well, hopefully there will be more in the future, thanks to these lovely caravan fights. Oh, now that I've added this caravan mod, I don't think I can ever play without it again. Alright, a rather nice little fight. Also lovely to see the Knights of the Realm, or the Bretonnian Knights, working together with the Imperial Knights. The Bretonnians, of course, led the charge and thus took more damage, but also dealt significantly more damage, and doubling that of the Empire Knights. But they are better units, and they can take Diamond or Lance formation, and for some reason the Empire Knights aren't taught that, so yeah, also makes sense. Otherwise, a very nice fight. I'm surprised how many kills the Chaos Spawn were also able to get on that one unit they crashed into. I should have just used the halberds to defend rather than expecting the range units to take those spawn down, but we're good. Ransom the captives for the little bit of extra cash. Alright, looks like we're good to the end of the turn, and these guys run. I see military presence. Piracy, income from trade lost. Screw you too. Enchantress, go to Campagrata. And yeah, these guys did take via Datsa.
Who calls me hence?
Irritating, but oh well. Pyrrhic victory. We will... Do we expect that they will actually sally out even if we have a Pyrrhic victory? They probably won't, will they? We're most likely better off just straight up attacking. So in that light, first thing we gotta do is move a Renee into reinforce, and then trade the Knights of Knee into the Fay Enchantress's main stack. Or our main stack, what, you know what I mean. I would like to lose, I guess, one of the archers. Again, this army's not going to have archers, so yeah. And we'll all move in, and then hopefully with the taking of the place, the corruption will go, and then we won't have to worry about anybody taking any damage. Like so. Alright, before we do that, we can...
Yes.
Well, that's interesting. I wonder, will these guys take the opportunity to attack us? All of our armies are gone from there. It would be annoying to lose Salignac or La Rouge because it's in the middle of a newly conquered territory. I think thusly we will not invest any money into it at this time. What we will invest in instead is... Well, that's a question. In theory, the water wheel would be really helpful here. You know what, let's fully invest in this province to make money without building right now the tavern. I'm hoping that we can go without. The windmill will significantly increase farm income. The Bretonnian fishing harbor is general income, and the farm will give us farm income. And we'll upgrade Saint Jacques, and then we'll go for a while back and to venerate the lady. I lied, because Ferrignac will need to upgrade the water wheel, rather, up to tier 2 first. Alright, so we'll have to wait on that. And that was all of our cash. We do still have enough of valor to upgrade this building, which we will do so now. And I guess then we will attack. Nobody here needs to be leveled up, right? At the very least, it's not there's nothing critical. I did want the additional casualty or punishment trade and campaign movement range off of this guy. Yeah, might as well. And then what about you, sir? Right, new trainer. Why not get the extra bonus XP for leveling these guys up? But what about you? Renee already did the pointage. What I did not do is combine the Sacrament of the Lady and the Scroll of Leeching into... Come on, Forbidden Rod. Damn, useless garbage channeling staff. Oh well. It's okay. We'll give you the channeling staff for now, and hopefully we can get something better out of it. And then you can also have that Talisman of Endurance. Wait, what were you using before? Oh, you were using the Pigeon Plucker Pendant. I mean, it's a very strong buff against enemy... flyers. I guess you can be a air superiority flyer for a while. Don't know if we'll keep you that way, but for now. And any ancillaries? We have another initiate. Yeah, you take the initiate. More anti-corruption here. Good. Anybody else need to level? Bertrand, I mean, you got a couple of levels. Could try to move towards Volley of Arrows, or just keep waiting until rank 10 and then get everything. Probably the way to do it. The way to go, the way to do it, whatever. Yeah. Especially while we don't have your building. Alright, let's fight. Alrighty, here we go. Once again, I absolutely love the Candle Pope hat. Some people have said that it looks like a thing of fries, but well, maybe it does, especially from certain angles, but it still looks absolutely magnificent. I am an absolute sucker for a silly, unnecessary hat. It's just fantastic. Anyway, here we go. Unfortunately, we don't have the siege towers or the ram this time around, so it's not going to be quite the epic siege as we saw last episode, at least not in the same manner, and we're gonna have to make use a little bit more of our range capabilities here to annoy the enemy army. Still, with the missile resistance that that all the Graveguard and the skeletons have, our limited numbers of peasant bows are probably not going to do significant enough damage to them, and we're still going to have to work away at them with our units, which means another opportunity for the Knights Errant to earn the right to be a Knight of the Realm, at the very least to start. I'm sure they're eager for it. And once again, it looks like the AI will use its bats to sally out of the settlement. Again, decent use of the idea. We're going to have to move our Grail Knights, or Grail Guardians rather, towards our range units in order to get ready to protect them. Fortunately, the bats are very fragile, and charging into them with Grail Knights, with Knights Errant doesn't really matter. We'll absolutely crush the unit. There we go. Quick little double charge completely deletes the bell bats. But as we've seen in I think it was the first episode actually, the Fellbats can delete a unit of Bowmen extremely quickly as well, so we really can't let them engage them, which is why we kept the Knights back for this purpose. There we go, another charge, and once again our artillery here were protected by the 2 units of Spearmen at Arms. And they were able to pin the bats in place long enough for us to do the work. A unit of bats is up in the sky surrounding the paladin. Unfortunately for them, this is our air superiority paladin, and he's got the Pigeon Plucker pendant. Minus 20 melee attack on the bats gives them 0 melee attack, and the already heavily armored and defensively minded paladin gets basically no damage on him whatsoever from the unit. While the bats were being taken care of, the gatehouse has been obliterated by our artillery piece, and the rest of our army can start moving forward to start menacing the garrison within. We will want to bring down a wall, I think, so let's just take the time to fire upon it for a bit. And this will give the Bowmen some time to use up some of their ammunition. In fact, by the looks of it, lots of their ammunition. Alright, and interestingly enough, though we are firing upon them, the enemy has decided to go on top of the walls. But maybe they're purposely trying to absorb some of these hits here, because they both have the crenellations to absorb a decent amount of the arrow fire. Plus the heavy armor of the Grave Guard against our non-armor piercing arrows is probably going to work pretty well. What's not going to work pretty well, though, is the Grave Guard falling to their doom as the wall collapses at last. Very nice. And by the looks of it, we've actually managed to damage 2 of the units of Grave Guard with that wall collapse. And the arrows, of course, still come down upon the enemy together with those blessed projectiles. Probably want to get at least one more blessed field trebuchet in this particular army. Though admittedly, I'm not 100% sure whether I do want artillery in this army. On the one hand, it does feel like it makes sense from a, we have the Grail Pilgrims and the Fay Enchantress and the Grail Guardians and whatnot. Or the Battle Pilgrims, rather. All of the holy stuff in this army basically kind of makes sense with the Blessed Field Trebuchets, but on the other hand, this army will eventually be a very fast-moving army. Frankly, it already is. Even the peasant mobs, thanks to our speed buffs, run at 37 speed, so they can certainly close the distance rather quickly. And that does mean not standing back and firing artillery at the enemy. I'll think about it. By which I mean I may or may not forget about it. Anyway, we are just about done prepping the enemy for our attack. A decent amount of them have actually moved away from the gate, which means we are more or less going to be free to move into the enemy settlement. The Fay Enchantress is going to lead with the Air Superiority Paladin hovering overhead. And we'll make a little bit of a beachhead before sending the Knights forward. Now, the Knights will start by charging through the Grave Guard, but rather than going here, where the bigger portion of the enemy are and where their monstrous infantry is, 2 units of Crypt Hulks, we are going to go up this path instead, where I can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 units of infantry and a unit of dogs, and not a single unit of Crypt Hulks. Which means there's nobody's going to stop these Knights. There we go. The Knights Errant will lead, or actually technically the Grail Guardians led, but then both together crash through the enemy lines, doing between 25 and 50% damage to all of them, heading uphill just a teensy bit, and then getting ready to turn around and charge downhill in the same manner. Away we go. Alright, a beautiful charge from the first unit, followed by the second. And look at all those zombies fly. And obviously we have a massive advantage against the infantry like this, especially when, well, away from the enemy monstrous infantry, and thus nobody with the mass to stop our cav. Destroy the undead indeed, and they're doing a pretty darn great job of it. In the meantime, the enemy's main line, their Vampire and their Hulks and their Strigoi... Oh, these guys, Wait, are they just really covered in blood, or are this sort of more like a brownish, reddish kind of color scheme? So do the Crypt Hulks work like the Beastmen then, where the primary color of the faction also paints them? I noticed that in Scarbrand, where apparently Scarbrand's secondary color is yellow, so all of the Beastmen, Giants, the Razor Gores, who else did we have? The Minotaurs of Khorne, they were all like a bright yellowish color, which surprised me actually, because Scarbrand's main color is red, but the symbol of Khorne within his banner is yellow, so that's the color that the game painted those Beastmen units. But anyway, I digress. I kind of like the sort of bloody-looking Crypt Hulks like this. And by the looks of it, they're mincing a fair few of the peasant mob, but ultimately, with the Fay Enchantress and the paladins in the midst of the fighting, they have little hope of success. Speaking of little hope of success, the enemy infantry are getting absolutely annihilated by these knights, and in fact only a single reasonably healthy unit remains. Insofar as you can call an undead unit healthy, I suppose. And there we go, a little bit more work and the battle will be ours. The bounce power has shifted to 95% in our favor. More and more of the peasant mobs are trying to make their way into the settlement, and frankly blocking off all entrances, so it's difficult to get the battle pilgrims actually through the gate. And the poison arrows surprisingly still dropping upon the enemy. Surprising, as I figured that we'd be out of ammunition by now. But apparently not the case. And of course the paladin does not wear a helmet. Yeah, that's not gonna come back and bite you, buddy. This isn't 40k, you gotta wear a helmet. Anyway, with that, it looks like the vast majority of the enemies surrounding the gates have melted, and pretty much only the units that were not in the fight remain. 3 units of infantry, 1 unit of dogs. Now 2.5 units of infantry after that charge, and about to be 1 less unit of dogs as they take a charge from the Grail Knights, which simply trample them, dishing out about 60% of their damage. Or their HP and damage, I should say. And then sort of anvil and hammering, or actually pincering, hammer and hammering on both of the units from each side. And with that, by the looks of it, these 2 units, I should say, are pretty much done, and all we have to do is close the distance with those that remain. Paladin will lead, as he's a little bit faster on that Pegasus than anybody else, though Silverhaw is fairly quick as well. In fact, let's see. Unicorn has 106 speed compared to the 139 of the Paladin. I suppose we could give a banner of swiftness to the Fay Enchantress to make her obnoxiously quick, but frankly, as soon as we get a banner of swiftness, we're going to put it on the Grail Guardians to make them even more obnoxious. It's already a one-man army unit, but, you know. They're supposed to be. Each Grail Knight is basically a demigod compared to the regular mortal man. Or at the very least on par with a unit of Chosen. And I mean Chosen from the lore, not Chosen from the game, as Chosen are one of the units that are misrepresented by Warhammer 3. They're a lot less numerous and a lot more scary than the game makes them seem. Anyway, the last of the enemy units melt under the nightly ministrations, and with that, this battle is ours. And I was about to say this faction is destroyed, but I guess they do have a couple more settlements. Anyway. Alrighty, there we go. Very minimal losses there, in big part thanks to our knights, while our single entities and our peasant mobs pinned a decent amount of the enemy in place. It also sort of cordoned off a section of the enemy settlement, wherein our newly minted Knights of Ni and the Endesnay worked very well together with the Knights Errant. I guess per the Errantry Wars beginning, have made themselves a nice amount of like big names for themselves, and more kills and more damage than these guys. Of course, they also are much more vulnerable, and the effectiveness here is by virtue of them attacking primarily trash mobs. Obviously, against Graveguard and stuff, the Grail Guardians would have been fine, and the Knights Errant maybe not so much. Occupy. Alright, another Zealot, another Wand of Jet, and Savior for Renee as well, and a Trickster's Helm. Bertrand, I think that's for the Fay Enchantress.
Protect Bretonnia.
Like so, and we'll get the Helm of Discord, I guess, on Sir Amalric for now. As he is the Enchantress's champion. Ooh, a valet. That will go into whatever our second army is. And hey, we got our first errantry completed. 10 turns, the control and the research is nice. The upkeep for Bretonnia Knights doesn't actually do much for us because we don't really have all that many as yet, but we will eventually. Now, we need 2 more fights against these guys. I would imagine they're gonna lose Urbimo and then their last settlement here, which means we should probably fight the Barrow Legion. Oh, there's ogres here as well. But they don't like us very much, unfortunately. I guess I'll have to find other ogres. Barrow Legion has 3 settlements. We will also want to attack the Greenskins, and once again, to be frank, I don't like leaving these guys here, so we'll probably backtrack a little bit into the Iranas. You're not fighting them either, so these guys will move southward most likely. Assuming they don't lose all their territory up north beforehand, which is also a distinct possibility. But it's one I think we are going to have to deal with and or find out next time, as we're pretty much out of time. I guess we can still end this particular turn just to see if anything interesting happens. Although if we get a caravan fight, I think we won't have time for it. Ostland wants to be friends. Yeah.
So what can the agreed?
Be friends with them, for now at least. And with Nordland.
I will listen.
We do need more trading partners in the near future. It can't just be trading with the Wood Elves. As for Maragliano, I'm not entirely sure that we should keep him around. If we have to fight the rats anyway, I feel like we'd get annoyed going over these guys' territories, so we might attack the Southern Realmers, and therefore I'm not going to have any alliances with them for now. We could go for a defensive alliance with the Marches of Kuhan, which may be a good idea just by virtue of the fact that everybody around them likes them.
Welcome to the land of
Plus, it's a free
chivalry,
trade agreement.
where there is feast and wine aplenty.
And a little bit of extra cash as well. Alrighty, we could go for the military alliance, but I think I don't want to be drawn into any unnecessary wars right now, mostly because the anti-player buys will see enemy factions move southward towards us. And a Tilwith wants a defensive alliance. Yeah, go
The
for
woods of Athelloren welcome you. Deliver your I concur.
it. Lovely. Alright, the Wood Elves are pretty darn happy with us. Now, we did get a little bit of extra cash out of that, and I do think we may be able to invest at least some of it. We are waiting to upgrade stuff here in River Brienne. Ravola, we will uncollect the income from, and I don't know whether we're keeping Campagrotta. You can actually keep the Royal Stables of Valor. I think we will uncollect the income for now, though. And then we'll try to maybe somehow get Alimento by trading it to these guys, though that's going to be an interesting proposition. Oh! And I'm now realizing that by virtue of the alliances with all of the Wood Elves, the Dwarfs are going to despise us, which means we're probably going to actually have to kill them. We'll be over -100 with them.
No patience for this. Say what you will, servant.
Well,
of
that's going to be
Leon.
a shame. Minus the fact that we could probably use this gold mine. A little bit less of a shame. Make a decent chunk of change out of it to pay for us having to move into the yellow territories in the mountains. But like I said, that's probably going to be something for next time. Just want to upgrade both of these farms. Like so and like so. And then Dragon Falls. Do we need any minor... We should probably get the Outlaws camp. It will at least enable us to build some of the Brigands, so it's going to be costly at 4,000 gold. But at least we'll be able to build some of these guys before we get the Eremo holdout, or hideout rather. So yeah, we'll probably build that either here or at Embrun. Actually, where the vineyard and the orchards are, maybe where the Outlaw camp would be? I'm not entirely sure. Does anything here help with recruitment? I don't see anything, therefore it's probably going to be beneficial to, at least later, build a Chapel of the Lady for the additional income. Or possibly another Grail Chapel, if nothing else, just for the damsel capacity and friar capacity. Oh, actually, speaking of friar capacity, we got a fleet-footed friar. I don't know about that, but what I do know is this. We can use you to go and see what's going on up here, find those factions. And we can always see about other friars later. Oh, we also can recruit additional damsels. Guardian for non-knight units for all peasants. Oh, that's quite interesting. Empathetic casualty punishment. Range for ranged units. Oh. We're gonna have to have one of those in that army then. Crusader, coordinated carnage for knights. That's not bad. Yeah, there's some really good traits on the Bretonnian heroes, perhaps, unsurprisingly. Alright, well, for now, firstly, we'll get a friar, and I just want to take a brief look at what we have here. Devoted, we have healer. Battle healing cap is nice, and we got Light of the Lady. Warrior monks, organize, increase mobility. So, by virtue of increased mobility, we should probably have one in every army, just so that armies move faster. Yeah, alright. Friars will work nicely with most of our armies. I kind of like how their abilities are super short range, as it will keep them from feeling obnoxious. Yeah. Anyway, I believe I said I was going to end the turn. I think that has not changed. Unassigned skill points, not important right now. Building upgrade available, and
Your coming was for
you are not ranked 10. Okay, end turn. Now, let's see. You know what? Maybe I should actually peace out with the Ramateb dynasty, so that would prevent us from needing to move down there. Although, what's the likelihood that they survive and don't get wiped out? It depends on how much money they're willing to give us for peace right now. There are other vampire counts that we could take out, and we have what we wanted in terms of the settlements. And by virtue of wanting to get those brigands on or outlaws on top of having to fight the greenskins, we have to backtrack anyway, without having to go down here. And let's see, Ramateb dynasty. They didn't ask us for peace this time around. Usually the AI would be into that sort of thing. But otherwise, by the looks of it, nobody is attacking us right now. Alright, fair enough. Then, with no further time remaining, Confederation, ally begins outpost, technology research, upkeep production for infantry, very nice. And Winds of Pain, that's good for us. Lovely, alright, with that, then, we are out of time, and I am going to call this particular episode here. Next time, I will think about this, but
we can begin.
Most likely we could peace out just to not have to go down there. We will go after the greenskins in the eastern Aranas, as we have to knock them out eventually anyway, and then we'll probably have to backtrack and join the war against the Broken Nose that Orion is currently fighting, because otherwise we won't complete the errantry, as, well, we need to take it out on these greenskins here, and then we may or may not attack Miragliano and whatnot, but with the upkeep production for infantry available, we should be good to recruit more infantry units, including the brigands for Bertrand's army. So, that will be the goal, and to split that army off next episode. Stay tuned for it. Don't forget to leave those likes and comments below, especially to Threshold for the double episode. All glory to the algorithm, and thanks for watching.